Earth's dreams. I'm dreaming of what I'd say to the engineer who put the fuel filter where it is on a Honda Civic 1.6 i-DTEC. This is the old one after I removed it, and if you love hellish jobs on cars, then you're in for a treat. Here's the new one from Mahle. It doesn't come with that sensor located at the bottom, so we will need to transfer that over, but it does come with an O-ring. Now the fuel filter on this car is located on the back of the engine block, and you might think you could go over from the top, but there is just no way, so you have to go underneath. So get yourself under the car, jack it up, axle stands for safety, and remove about 8 million plastic clips and a few bolts. And then the entire under tray comes down. Here's the 8 million clips, and be warned, almost certainly some of them will break, so it's probably a good idea to order some spares ahead of time. The way these clips work is that you need to lever out the center pin first, and then you can lever out the whole clip. This is a broken one. So I'm going to try and show you now where the fuel filter is located. It isn't easy crawling under the car, but locate the fuel filter and then just move backwards slightly from that and look up at the engine block. Just above the drive shaft, there it is. And with my screwdriver, I'm pointing at the sensor. First thing to do is disconnect the wiring connector from the sensor on the fuel filter. The fuel filter is held on by a couple of 10mm bolts. You're going to need quite a few extensions to get to them. Happily, those two bolts that secure the fuel filter onto the engine are fairly accessible if you do use extensions. I shoved the camera up by the drive shaft here to give you as best view as possible. It really isn't easy in this tight space, but now that the fuel filter is loose, you can see on the top of it is where both hoses connect, and there are a couple of clamps that we need to release. The access up to those clamps looked like so much fun that I decided to release this engine mount. It's more of a torque mount, really. Getting to it is actually very easy, and taking it off is easy, so I thought this was worth it to give me a lot better access for my arms. Like I said, this isn't really a proper engine mount, it's a torque mount, so no, the engine won't fall on you. But it will be wobbly. And after a bit of a fight, you can see that the two clamps, I've loosened them and moved them just a little bit further down the hose so that I can pull the hose, each of the two hoses, off the filter. And just like we've already seen, here is the old filter off the car. Onto the bench now to transfer over the sensor from the old filter to the new one. Like I said, the Mahle part that I got did come with an O-ring for this sensor, so I'm using that. Use some pliers to pinch in the tab for the wiring connector. The sensor just unscrews. Old O-ring off and new O-ring on. I use a little bit of diesel to lubricate it. The O-ring's doing all the work here, so don't over tighten this. I didn't film me putting the new filter back in place because it's the reverse of what you've just seen. It's just a nightmare, just like taking off the old one. So, on to starting the car now. I deliberately cycle the ignition a few times first of all to try to get as much fuel as possible through the system. What will probably happen when you start cranking the engine is it will probably fire and run for a number of seconds, and then it will die because of the airlock. So all I did after that was keep cranking it, giving the starter a bit of a rest, and eventually it will fire again. What you see here isn't all of the cranking that I was doing. And that's it, you're done. That was difficult, wasn't it?